Welcome to the UU Church of the South Hills, also known as Sunnyhill. We're delighted that you could join us for this service today. Our mission here at Sunnyhill is to create a more just and compassionate community within and beyond our walls. My name is Krista Stanley, and I serve as a worship associate for this congregation. If you're a newcomer or a visitor to our congregation, please go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says New to Sunnyhill to receive more information about our congregation and to receive our weekly email newsletter. Also, if you'd like to be greeted today as a newcomer after the service, please take a red mug with you, and members will seek you out to make sure you are warmly welcomed. If you're joining us online today, please say hello or good morning in the comments on Facebook or YouTube. We'd like to hear from you and extend a welcome to you as well. Just a gentle reminder, please be sure to silence your cell phones or other electronic devices so that we can enjoy this service uninterrupted by buzzing or ringing. Today's sermon will be delivered by Sunnyhill member Jean Lofgren, who participated in the sermon writing class led by Reverend Jim McGaw, who is off today. Jean's sermon explores her personal spiritual practices and the ways in which similar practices might benefit everyone, especially during challenging times. Please join me in welcoming Jean. Our opening words were written by Arlen Goff. Thresholds. We cross them every day, from room to room, from outside to inside, and back again. From here to there, from anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for change, for renewal, for transformation, from what we were and what we are to what we can be. In this hour and in this place, we cross a threshold from our day-to-day everydayness into space and time attuned to the other, to the sacred, to the holy, into an awareness of new life, pregnant with possibilities. How will we be renewed in this moment? How will we be changed by this hour? How will we be transformed through this gathering of beloved community? Come, you longing, thirsty souls, come, let us worship together. Please join me in saying the words for lighting our chalice. May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us.
Good morning. Please rise and body your spirit to join in singing our opening hymn, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a
Good morning. If there are any kiddos present that want to come on up for our time for all ages, now's your chance. Morning, friends. Happy Sunday. One day, a mother tried to read the newspaper, but her little daughter kept asking questions. As a UU parent, I will tell you that I love it when my kids ask questions. And more questions, but sometimes I need a quiet little break. Does anyone else feel like they need a quiet little break sometimes from all the questions? No? I bet that's true. When this happens, I tell my kids that I need a brain break, which is just a quiet space to be alone in my thoughts. I imagine that that's what this mother was thinking too. So let's get back to our story. So to help her and her daughter take a quiet little brain break, she tore a page from the newspaper that had a map of the world on it. She ripped it into pieces and handed the pieces to her daughter. Okay, now you've got something to do. The mother said, I've given you a map of the world, and I want to see if you could put it back together correctly. She resumed her reading, knowing that this task would keep the child occupied for the rest of the day. However, just 15 minutes later, the girl returned with the map completely put back together. Has someone been teaching you geography? Asked the mother in astonishment. I don't even know what geography is, replied the girl. But there was a picture of a woman on the other side of the page. So I put the woman back together and found out that I'd put the world back together too. You see, friends, sometimes the world feels like it's been ripped into pieces. It can feel scary and the problems overwhelming. There are things we could do to face those challenges and help repair the world. But it starts by taking care of ourselves. When our own spiritual needs are met, we can start to look outside for how we can put the rest of the pieces back together. And with that, we will head to our class. Let's sing the children out.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go. Go ahead and do it. All right, I need your help on this one. Specifically to sing the chorus. This is how it goes. I am light, I am light. Try that one. I am light, I am light. You got it. I am light, I am light. Again. I am light, I am light. We'll do it a couple more times. I am light, I am light. Yeah. I am light, I am light. Now here's the verse. I am not the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. I am light. Yeah. I am light. I am light. I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. All my soul inside is all light. I am light. I am divinity undefined. I am a God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light. 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 I am light.
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Joe Barker, and I'm a member of Sunnyhill's pastoral care team. Part of our covenant to you, the congregation, is to comfort and support each other. The pastoral care team is made up of Sunnyhill members who are trained in how to be a caring, listening presence for the members of our congregation. We hope that you will contact a member of the pastoral care team when you have a need. If you have any questions, please contact Reverend Jim, Beth Thornton, or a member of the team. You can submit a joy or a sorrow on the Sunnyhill website or by filling out a form in the foyer. After each joy or sorrow that I read, please respond by saying, "We hold you in our hearts." We have a joy this morning from Dio Bouquet. Her joy, it is Hollis's first birthday today. For Dio and Hollis, we hold you in our hearts. We have a joy from Scott Smith and Peg Hart this morning. Their joy, our daughter Margot got married to her partner Katie Barry on July 4th at a splendid family reunion at Saranac Lake in the Adirondacks. For Scott and Peg, Margot and Katie, we hold you in our hearts. We have a joy and a sorrow from Charlie Cook this morning. Charlie writes, "At the insistence of my loving wife Pam, I was admitted to St. Clair Hospital for my annual pneumonia event, which maybe resulted from a COVID event a week earlier. We are blessed with the availability of the St. Clair medical community. For Charlie and for Pam, we hold you in our hearts. We have a joy from Lynn Heltman. Lynn writes, I am grateful for the early diagnosis and treatment of Lyme disease, which I started having symptoms of in mid-June. I'll always love our cabin, but I will be more careful to protect myself in the future. For Lynn, we hold you in our hearts. We have a sorrow this morning from Julie Ann Sullivan. This past week, I was one car back from a drive-by shooting. It made me ask myself this question: will we all have to experience violence firsthand in our lives? I hope that is not true. For Julianne, we hold you in our hearts. As we sing our musical meditation, for those joys and sorrows unspoken but close to our hearts, we invite anyone who feels moved to do so to come forward in the sanctuary, light a candle, place it in the sand, and return to your seat.
Then I may learn to give.
This meditation is adapted from a poem titled Blessing of Birth by Richard Rudd, author of Gene Keys. Please join me in the spirit of meditation. As our lives sprout and our soul's true purpose echoes round the valleys of our lives, may our roots plunge deep, may our paths run smooth, may our friends be many, may we find our sacred partner, may we face all storms with the heart of the rose and the valor of the lion, and may the winds of wisdom loosen the leaves of our dreams as we offer our gifts to the world. And may the tender cradle of our community fill us with vigor and the gentle faith that all is well in this life. May our every cell remember this truth as we step forth from this day onwards. Let us pause for a moment of reflection. May it be so.
Good morning. Okay. All right. Life has handed me some really good challenges, causing me to look inward for answers. Over the last several years, I've embarked on an inner journey of self-discovery. Through insights and breakthroughs, I have gradually become a much more grounded and self-aware individual and a much more joyful and optimistic human being. The loose framework for this journey has been life itself, Sunnyhill, of course, and a set of teachings called the Gene Keys, as in genetic keys. These teachings are a synthesis of many wisdom traditions designed to unlock a person's higher purpose. It is the beautiful language of the Gene Keys that drew me into it. It provides a vocabulary for understanding the less desirable aspects of myself, so that I could witness my greed or pride, for example, and see that the very same energy within greed could become aspiration, and the same energy within pride could become artfulness, transforming the wounded kind of pride that tends to compare itself to others into a kind of pride of the sun that manifests itself in rainbow color. The Gene Keys taught me that if I can relax into myself, slow down and pause, then the tension and the suffering of my shadows could be transformed into the genius of their gifts. The Gene Keys in Unitarian Universalism, they have served as two complementary undercurrents supporting me through many life's challenges. Both streams draw from many wisdom sources, and they seek to empower the individual. Neither one purports to limit or usurp anyone's inner authority. They meet the individual exactly as they are, and they challenge us to live into our highest ideals through deep inner reflection that eventually leads to initiative. In my case, this deep inner reflection, it led me to find a deeply grounded sense of worth. Self-esteem had always been a struggle for me. Ever since I can remember, I struggled with the idea that I was enough, that what I was feeling was valid. I felt that I needed to prove, explain, and justify myself, and that I had to appear some certain way to be accepted. In contemplating what's known as the Venus sequence in the Gene Keys in early spring 2021, I came to an understanding of why I, and indeed all human beings, have inherent worth and dignity.
the immense pressure that we feel, the emotional and mental conditioning we receive as children, as well as the fateful events that we experience in our lifetimes. All of these we are asked to process. It is an almost insurmountable task, one where the simple act of showing up at times can be a most heroic act. Surely the divine force of creation must have found us worthy of such an undertaking, to have entrusted to us this processing of pain and suffering. My second time through the Venus sequence in the late fall of 2022, I came to experience my inherent worth and dignity. Now that sounds odd, yes? Let me explain. I was commuting into work, sitting at a traffic light on Banksville Road next to the Eaton Park. I don't recall what I was thinking about or listening to when a sudden wave of energy came over me. It enveloped my entire being, saturating it with a deep knowing down into the very cells and core of my being that I had inherent worth, just being alive, and that my value, it did not depend on how I looked or what my title was, on any accolades or how much money I had. None of that mattered. And in that moment, the words that came to my mind and that I uttered aloud were, "This is the Holy Grail." I believe this was a moment of grace opening my heart and touching my soul. The euphoria didn't last. When the light changed green, I had to focus on the road and drive. I can't help but wonder whether what I experienced in that moment was a discovering of how and what we as a species really are at our essence, that this is our true nature. And it then gets masked and veiled by all the conditioning that we receive as to how we should be in the world. Although I don't live steeped in that state of euphoria, the memory of it will always be with me. I can return to that memory to center myself when I'm lost in a flurry of activity or overwhelmed by the heightened tensions of the world. It is always there for me to rekindle when I remember to pause and to breathe and to be here now. For the contemplative, introspective seeker, the Gene Keys is a treasure trove of beauty and wisdom, but I know that it will not resonate with everyone. So this sermon does not focus on the Gene Keys themselves, but on the Gene Keys approach. It is an approach that I believe can be universally applied to the challenges that life presents. It provides a foundation for gentle transformation, and it rests on 4 pillars. These are contemplation, inquiry, gentleness, and patience. Using a book as an analogy, contemplation serves as the spine of the book to which the other 3 pillars attach. It is a practice representing a middle path between the concentrated path of the yogi and the Zen path of meditation. It's a playful path of holding concepts in the mind's eye and playing with them until an insight, breakthrough, or epiphany occurs. In his book, The Art of Contemplation, the founder of the Gene Keys, Richard Rudd, details the 3 techniques to contemplation. They are pausing, pivoting, and merging. And if there's one takeaway from today's sermon, it is the importance of pausing. Richard Rudd writes, "Each pause is a pinprick of light in the screen of our busyness. The more pauses that go on appearing, the more we become aware of the screen. And the nature of the pause is a beautiful thing. The pause brings us into our physical bodies, into the moment of our breathing, into our belly, and into our spine. On a practical level, a pause is anything that breaks the continuity of our activity. I experience pauses in 2 general ways: the pauses that I schedule into my day, and then the pauses that life thrusts upon me. Using an app called the Triple Flame, I'll pause for a few minutes every 3 hours during the day. When I hear the ding of the bell telling me it's time to pause, I'll pull away from what I'm doing, I pay attention to my breathing, and then I begin to notice my environment, tuning into the movements around me. the flow of the Monongahela outside my office window, the movement of the clouds, the different rhythms the wind creates when it moves through the tree branches and the leaves. I do this even when it's not convenient to pause, because this practice has helped me to enjoy the pauses that life thrusts upon me, and then to create pauses for myself in times of high drama and tension. For example, I can now notice when I'm triggered. And the first thing I realize is that my breathing is caught in my chest and my body is tense. Once I draw my breath in deeply to relax, I usually notice that my attention is either outside the present moment, thinking about something in the past or something in the future, or my attention is outward facing. What is that person doing? What is that person saying? And here comes the second technique for contemplation, the pivot. Turning my attention away from what is that person doing and pivoting it inward, bringing my attention into the present moment and into what is going on with me and why. Pivoting is an act of returning non-love with love. And for me, that love has come in the form of forgiveness, including self-forgiveness, and also in the form of self-love and care, such as a firm no, or creating a healthy boundary that I need for healing. The pivoting of awareness brings us to the second pillar of the Gene Keys approach, that of inquiry, asking the profound introspective questions and inviting wisdom to come from within. In our book analogy, inquiry is the pages of the story, but it's not just any story that we're reading. It's our own unique story. An inquiry has depth and layers to it. So what do I mean by that? When I first learned to read, it didn't matter what the words on the page meant. I was reading for speed and speed only. Eventually, I would read for comprehension. Could I understand the material? Could I paraphrase and reorder it? Could I pull out distillations and simplify the content into its essence? Sometimes, however, there were novels that captured my imagination. I got swept up into the lives of the characters. I became the characters, and their journey was my journey. It is that imaginative reading that is the essence of inquiry. We may begin with an intellectual understanding of our story, but at some point, the inquiry moves from the intellect into the experiential. And when it does, it can come with profound feelings of joy and discomfort. So this brings us to the third pillar of the Gene Keys approach, that of gentleness. Gentleness is nurturing a kind and gracious approach towards self and others, encouraging a spirit of unwinding and unlearning versus striving and fixing. Gentleness is the front cover of our book. It sets the tone and the attitude for the entire inner journey. Of all the pillars to the Gene Keys approach, gentleness is the one that I struggled with the most. For over 40 years, I associated gentleness with being feminine and therefore weak. Religious and social conditioning during my formative years impressed upon me the inferiority of the female gender, and in reaction to this, I denied and repressed anything that was feminine about me. Only in the last few years have I begun to heal those wounds. And it was through gentleness that I was able to see that by rejecting the feminine, I had disempowered myself. Gentleness allows me to hold myself lightly so that I can see and admit my mistakes and therefore grow and evolve from them. And because of gentleness, I'm also able to see that the salt poured on my wounds by another comes from those who themselves are deeply wounded. In this way, gentleness engenders compassion. In contemplating gentleness, I came to realize the strength and the resilience in it. That gentle is firm, but never mean. Like water in its liquid state, gentleness is unbreakable. And with patience, it will forge a Grand Canyon out of the densest rock. This leads me to the fourth and final pillar of the Gene Keys approach, patience. It's one thing for the light bulb to go off and to have these aha moments and experience these insights and breakthroughs. But it's something entirely different to live in the reality that having such moments doesn't mean the struggle is over. Far from it. Life is epically nonlinear, and just because I gained an insight into a mental, emotional, or behavioral pattern that I can see no longer serves me, that doesn't mean the pattern is transformed automatically and just goes away. This process of transformation is just that. It's a process, and it's a long one. Thus, patience is needed. Patience requires an inherent trust in the process of self-discovery. Patience is the back cover of our book, supporting us all along the way. It is my hope and prayer that we can remember to pause and to breathe, to pivot our awareness through inquiry, and with gentleness and patience, that we can come to discover our own inherent worth and dignity, seeing with crystal clarity the divine light that shines within all of us. May it be so. Amen. So the closing song that we're going to sing, it's the last chant in Reverend Jim's sacred chant sessions that he holds on like once a month on Fridays, and it's so much fun, and it's just a joy to sing. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
Please rise and body your spirit to join in singing. We are opening. We're going to go back and forth through these two verses a couple of times so that we can really get into it. And clap, stomp. I have a tambourine, so, get rowdy.
Our Share the Plate beneficiary for the month of July is the Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, or PIN. Here to tell us more about PIN is Sunnyhill member Wendy Bell.
I know you were all wondering why I was sitting up front, right? Now you know. So I'm Wendy Bell, the real Wendy Bell. Okay. Had to get that out of. Good morning, Sunnyhill. As you know, our Share the Plate recipient this month is PIN, Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, which is an incredibly vibrant, active social justice nonprofit in the greater Pittsburgh area. For those of you who aren't familiar with PIN, it is a network of congregations and organizations and individuals in southwestern Pennsylvania that are committed to drawing together people of faith to act powerfully on local and regional issues of justice and fairness. While PIN has many initiatives, most of which match our efforts here at Sunnyhill, I am most familiar with PIN's focus on criminal justice reform. I have participated in some of their actions to raise awareness of and actually change the deplorable conditions at the Allegheny County Jail. For example, I've joined with Pat Murray, Joe Shaughnessy, and Fran McDowell in attending the public meetings of the Jail Oversight Board, which is charged with holding the jail administration accountable for the conditions inside the jail. Incarcerated folks have the right to receive healthy food, clean accommodations, medications they need, books to read, humane treatment at all times, regardless of their mental health, and most importantly, their lives. The JOB meetings provide the public with the opportunity to speak directly to the Jail Oversight Board, as well as the warden and his staff to provide, who are in attendance. PIN has a standing commitment to provide public content for each of these meetings, right down to the reading of the names of all who have died within the walls of the jail, as PIN attendees stand holding signs with their names printed in large black ink. Everyone stands when this happens. I also attended a peaceful PIN demonstration in the portico of the City County building that was intent on bringing the attention of the conditions of the jail that have it holding the unenviable distinction of being among the top 3 jails in the country in inmate deaths in the country. I remember it was cold that day and the demonstration lasted a fair while, but all of us held our signs and sang our songs, hoping that our message would be heard. PIN organizes its presentations at the Oversight Board meetings, as well as at its demonstrations, in a professional yet compassionate way to maximize effectiveness. This organization is also very savvy in its use of the media to get its message out. Through its efforts, PIN has helped the new county administration to understand what is needed for reform at the jail and is celebrating the search for a new warden who just might start addressing some of the institutional problems that affect so many in our county. And it does much, much more than the activities in which I've participated. Sunnyhill couldn't have picked a better partner for its criminal justice reform team or for its Share the Plate beneficiary this month. Now, for your planning purposes, we will have a short meeting after service next week, so get your calendars, next week, to answer questions and share how working with PIN will broaden your lives. It will be accompanied by fresh fruit and biscotti, a fantastic learning opportunity. Thank you.
If you'd like to make a gift via our online giving system, you can do so by going to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says Online Giving, and then follow the instructions. Or you can give by text at 412-324-3130, All text gifts will go to our Share the Plate offering, and we'll be passing our offering baskets for cash and checks in just a moment. If you're writing a check, be sure to put Share the Plate in the memo line. Thank you so much for your generosity. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together.
As we tread the paths of our lives, so we write our destinies. The further we move from our essential nature, the more we and those around us suffer. And this suffering is vital to us. It keeps reminding us of the simplest path, the path of least resistance, the path that is naturally ours. It has been said that the hardest and the easiest thing in the world is simply to be yourself. Go in peace.